The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
And welcome to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. Was that more enthusiastic?
A little more
Am I getting better? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to talk in this voice anymore. I was told by our producer that
You are loud.
I have to talk in this voice. They want me to talk in the radio voice extreme because I can keep my voice monotone and not get too outside the box. Also, the other microphones don't hear me when I talk in that voice. Yeah.
You are so loud.
Oh my gosh. There was a lot going on behind the scenes before we got the show started.
Yes, there is a lot going on.
Joe, your microphone was like
drooping. That's why it's like pointed up now. It's like drooping. And then Joe threw his headphones on the ground when you yelled.
And you licked my face?
Dude, you had this rogue.
Why are you licking my face?
This rogue eyebrow that was like broke rank. That was like a flag in the wind.
I thought Leah was my mom for a second. I was like, what are you doing there?
That makes for good radio.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that does make for good radio. They couldn't see it.
No. Why do you have that?
What do I have? What? Oh, my tape measure?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so I can make sure I'm at least 6 feet apart from our guest.
Oh, yeah. Who is our guest? You just messed up my segue.
I messed up your guest? Segue?
I was supposed to say, and let's build on that. Speaking of building, our next guest.
Our next guest is Val Black.
Val Black. Our
construction manager here at
Purple Heart Homes.
Yeah. What is she in charge of building?
She's in charge of building. We work together.
Right.
So she does the construction of the homes, and I do the logistics and operations.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So it was like the dynamic duo.
Oh, and you're both kind of like redheads and and tall and angry. Is that right? So hello, Val.
Hello. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh man. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
This your first time?
This is my first time here.
Yay.
Yes.
You know, I think we've previously had Val's husband on here, though.
A couple times.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. My husband, former Marine, Jason Keating. He's been on here 2 or 3 times.
Former Marine? What is that nonsense?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Oh, he'd be so upset that I said that. But yes.
Yeah,
he's a Marine.
Yes, Jason is a Marine. That's right.
He doesn't Marine anymore.
No.
He is a Marine.
I mean, sometimes he does. I've seen him get a little upset and be like, what happened?
That is true. He still does that.
I'll be there in like 5 minutes.
And don't look in the back of his Prius because basically you lift up the back and it's like a go thing. I don't even know. He's got everything in there.
That's the funny thing. So Val is our construction manager here, and she is very like tomboyish and like covered in paint all the time and sawdust. And Jason's very like, always like well put together, and he drives a Prius.
Yes. Yeah, who drives the pickup truck?
Yeah, I drive the truck.
And
And he has more shoes than I do.
Yeah. Well, manicure. I mean, and then he'll also kill you with a spoon.
Yeah.
So
I figure in an apocalypse we're covered. Like he can be the assassin and I would be the carpenter, so we'd always be needed.
Oh
yeah, there you go. That's a way to look at it.
I'm not sure that I would have to take in an apocalypse situation, especially if it was like a zombie one. I'd have to take an oath of silence.
Oh my gosh, yes. Because we would hear you like in other towns, the vibration of Devin's voice.
Well, I mean, I could, like, if we have to go to battle with other tribes, then I could be the rallying cry.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
you could.
Yeah.
Like in Braveheart.
Yeah. They'll never take our freedom! Joe is probably having a nightmare situation over there, controlling the volume. I just was heard on every microphone.
You just give up.
Gave up.
Joe gave up.
Yeah.
It's all right.
So, hey, we're bantering, but we're not talking about what is your actual job here? What do you do?
So my actual job title is technical production manager, but basically that's just a construction manager in a production facility.
Yeah, they like to get real wordy with the titles around here, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But I think they wanted to be real clear that it's a production facility. We're not just building outside or building one-off houses. We're producing the same houses over and over.
And what kind of houses are we producing?
So they're considered tiny homes. They're right now our only model is the 32 by 10, and it's 32 feet long, 320 square feet. It's got a full kitchen, a large bathroom, kind of a living room, dining room area, and a bedroom with a closet and a washer and dryer.
And and you're building that all in house, right?
Yep, we do everything in house except for the foundation.
The foundation. I thought my voice was the foundation of Purple Heart Homes. I didn't. No.
Please
Okay.
no.
All right.
She said no. don't go there.
So, you're back there building these tiny homes every day. That's not what you started off here doing, though, right?
No, I started here about 2 years ago. Well, I came here from a cabinet shop in Mooresville. So I was a cabinet maker, finish carpenter by trade. And then when I got hired here, I was the team lead for the ramp building side. So we did the ramps, accessibility ramps for the veterans. And then quickly I ended up moving over to the tiny house side.
Yeah, probably because they didn't have a lot of people that actually knew about construction here, and you'd been doing that basically your whole adult life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty much about 16 years now. I've been doing construction, but I grew up in a construction family, so I've been doing it before that too.
Construction.
Listening to her talk is like I'm in awe. When she's to have I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but a woman in construction, but she knows her stuff. And so to hear her talk and give guidance and instruction, it's like really amazing the amount of knowledge you have.
Oh my gosh. So when she first started, she started off, when she talked about the ramp thing, and I would go out there on ramp builds with her, and I did out there the same thing I do on here. I run my mouth. So I get all the volunteers excited and tell them what's going on. And, Val's actually in charge. I'm just there to talk. And after like the first 2 or 3 ramps is like, hey, look, I know all of you guys are bank managers and IT guys, and you're going to want to do more than what the woman's doing. But her job is construction. I think she knows more than you. So I'm just going to. So, that was a conversation we had to keep having. Yeah.
Yeah, every single time, pretty much. But now we tend to work with the same volunteers a lot. And they know now. They've gotten better about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. If you work with more volunteers, especially, like, people get a feel for it and they go, oh, yeah, she really does know more than I do. I mean, I kind of did some construction-y type stuff before I came here, but it was in a different line.
Construction-y.
Well, I did
that is
HVAC.
Such an amateur word. I play with Legos.
Wow.
I build with Legos.
Are you making fun of my ability to articulate? I guess
Yeah.
I articulate about as good as Legos. They're all blocky and yeah, they only come in certain sizes. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that.
I don't know, but we need to
what?
go on break.
Oh, yeah, we should. I'll build some other segue during the break. You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
And welcome back. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together. I started before Joe gave me the thumbs up.
That's okay. That's fine. Be fine.
I'm still learning this
we'll
process.
Fix it in post, right? Can we fix it in post? No, probably not.
It's all right.
Yeah,
You're here.
You certainly can't fix me talking about fixing it in post.
No.
But
welcome back. Thank you for sticking around for another segment of Putting the Pieces Back Together. Brought to you by Purple Heart Homes.
Right. Yeah, if you want to know more about Purple Heart Homes and how we're assisting veterans every day, go to phhusa.org. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
Wow, awkward silence. That's just what we're. I think before. before the break, I was trying to figure out like the word dependent. For some reason, it escaped me. Or,
Really?
like, during the break, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, well, married to a military. You're
Yeah. Wow.
bless your heart. You wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't. I was never a dependent. I didn't
Yeah.
have any while I was in the Marine Corps.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't have any?
No, I did not have any dependents while I was in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
Well, because everybody, I'm not going to get into why. I think
Well, you were
that
how
might not
long?
be radio safe.
Well, you were young too when you.
I joined at 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I knew a guy who literally, he married this gal we found at Myrtle Beach that was already with someone else's child. And he signed the birth certificate. And then we got deployed. And then she sent him a very not happy video. If you've ever seen the movie Jarhead, it was that video. I was like, oh my gosh, Jarhead is real life. And
Wow.
yeah. And then she also ended up with child again. And he claimed that one too.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, it was fun times. Anyways,
Anyway.
that is not how Val's life went as a dependent. So yeah, let's just go back to Val's before I get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I just
ask questions, Leah, quickly before
I know,
get
right?
myself in
So
trouble.
me now being on the flip side as a dependent of a military member, and getting ready to go through possibly my first deployment as a married, dependent. I want to know, we'll go back later. But I just want to know, like, how did you cope and how did you handle your husband being gone for a year? Because I mean, you had to handle the household, the kids, the whole workload. Like, how did you handle that while he was deployed?
Well, first off, the first deployment's the worst. But after that, it gets better. After the first deployment, the first one is always rough. And I was pregnant, the first one too. I was like 8 months pregnant. My mom passed away pretty much as soon as he left. And I didn't have any family there or friends, and we didn't live on base. So that first time was rough. But honestly, I handled it mainly by getting into building. That's kind of, I had already done some, I worked at an antique store when I was a teenager and learned how to restore furniture. But then I got into building and I started building our furniture. Even pregnant, I did it. And
no kidding.
So just
doing
basically
extra
staying busy and kind of going
staying
along.
busy, yeah. And just, that's really it. Because, you know, the minute they leave, it's like everything falls. Your dishwasher breaks. Your car breaks down. I swear that's exactly how it goes.
Murphy's Law, yeah.
Yeah. And then the second deployment was a little rough in the beginning, but really I was already used to it and it just went easier. It just rolled easier. And then it was harder when he came home, actually. To be honest, that was the harder part.
What do you find that's hard? Is that you took care of everything. So having him transition back into the household and finding his place again, because I know when I deployed, like you leave how life is. And so when you're gone, you know, you carry on. So when you come back, you think you're coming back to where you left it.
Oh yeah, I guess.
And
so.
then, you know, everyone moves on. So now you're trying to fit back in to routine and fit
it's like
back
in your mind, you feel like everything was on pause while you were gone and you're going to just walk back into it. And that's not
And
what
I
it's
can't
like
imagine what it's like on
That's
your
not what
end.
it's like.
Yeah.
It's coming, it keeps going, right?
Yeah. And you, like, they leave and then they possibly come back a different person. And when he came home, I was a different person because I had to do everything by myself. So you know, and also we didn't have a baby when he left. And then when he came back, we had a baby who he had nothing to do with raising for the first 6 months, you know, so I had my own routines and just everything. Like he literally came back and I had like a Word document on like how to do things because I'm very organized. I love my spreadsheets and all that. Like it was a literal Word document. Bedtime is at this time, you know, whatever else.
Oh, I'm sure handing a Marine a Word document worked out really well.
Yeah. He pretty much was like, I do what I want. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he came back to somebody who was not as dependent on him as I was when he left.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he had to get used to that. And that took a lot of adjusting. And it was even more so after the second deployment. So,
Well, that's one of the things we always talk about, that when someone is serving, their family is serving with them. Whether I mean, especially if they're married and they have a spouse and children at home, it's hard. You're having to go through the everyday things that you would always have to go through, but you're now having to face that challenge alone, and then deal with someone who maybe encountered a lot of situations that that you weren't there for, and you don't know how they're feeling emotionally when they come back, and so you're dealing with this person that maybe is a little different. Like you said, he was a different person when he came back, because he had to be.
mm-hmm.
I commend you. I really, really do. I mean, like, me going on the flip side of it, it's like, it's actually a scary unknown territory. I mean, I have older kids. I mean, well, 10, 9, and 7, but still to have him gone and then still continue your life and like fill in his void. I mean, that's got to be like really difficult.
Yeah. I will say though, your marriage is never more romantic than when they're deployed. You get the best love letters.
Oh,
is that right?
Yes, the best emails. Like, just, everything is, I think everything was great while he was deployed. Except for at one point, Jason actually he was on a MEU on his first deployment, and he went to Greece with all of his unit, and he took all these pictures, and they all dressed up in these white button-down shirts, and they took pictures like it looked like a boy band, honestly. They were like half unbuttoned, and I was like, and we had just got married not that long before that, and we never had a honeymoon because he had workups and all that. And I was like, oh, well, I'm glad you're on our honeymoon with your unit. Like, I was so resentful. I was like, oh, it's not even fair.
Oh yeah, and they're all in like really good shape too. They're standing on a beach.
Yes. I was like, oh, that's real nice. I'm stuck at home I'm pregnant. I'm miserable.
And here you are, about 3 cows.
The dishwasher's leaking water. I'm like, this is my life.
And he's all like, I want it that way.
Exactly.
Leah's like, don't sing.
Please don't. Please don't.
I've heard that story like, I don't know, 30 times, and I laugh like every time. Yeah,
because you get the visual. Like, if you meet Jason, you just
we have to find those pictures so I can actually show them to you.
Man, I hope. So I'm not sure when this episode's going to air. If I can find them ahead of time, I'm going to edit them into the show. So please do find them. Yeah. So if you're listening on the radio, you're going to have to go find it on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you like to listen, watch your podcasts. And don't forget to like and subscribe there. Yeah. Oh, wow. I just did the whole commercial thing right in the middle, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Just broke into it. Yeah.
All right.
So was that the hardest thing you had to face when he was deployed, or?
Some of it, I mean, I would say the hardest thing was probably right after my youngest was born. He did get to come home, which was not expected because my mom had passed away. So he got to come home for her funeral, and it just happened to line up to when I gave birth. But then he left when Tyson was like 3 days old. So the postpartum, I think, just being alone and in pain and
your mother
everything.
had just passed away.
Yeah, and I had nobody. So I would say the worst was the postpartum, having to deal with that afterwards.
I don't think people understand that when you're a military spouse, like, you're away from family.
Yes.
When you're on bases. And like, your family, like thousands of,
one there.
You have no support sometimes.
Yeah, you were in North Carolina, right?
We were in Jacksonville, Camp Lejeune.
And all your family lives down in
Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Yeah, I did eventually, after he had been gone for about a month, I went and moved in with his parents to have a little bit more support and people around me and all that, which helped.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it definitely helped. But that was probably the worst part, and just having to do things, the balancing act of life, like trying to work and trying to get the kids to school and get the kids to sports and all of that stuff is probably the hardest part. Even grocery shopping. Like,
Oh yeah, because you had 3 boys.
yes. And you have to like drag them all into a grocery store and you only have 2 hands. And, you know, it's like trying to figure out, you got one like clung to your leg like a rug rat. And you're pulling the other 2 in.
I don't know the oldest, but I know the other 2 don't listen.
They're boys.
I mean, they are boys.
They do not. But.
Well, so, hey, we're getting ready to go to a break. But when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about the construction side of things with you and Leah, because both of y'all are seeing 2 sides, or was it different sides of the same coin? How do I get in? How do I be on a radio show? I can't even put my words
I
together.
think you're intimidated being between 2 women, but we'll talk about that
Wow.
later.
Is it really?
Yes.
Really? Man. So, well, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll be right back after these messages.
And welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, where you can go to YouTube. Where, Devin? Because you forgot to mention that.
Well, yeah. No, I said YouTube, but I didn't say the channel.
Where?
You follow Purple Heart Homes on YouTube.
There you
Is that
go.
what you were trying to
Yeah.
get at? Yes. And Facebook. Follow Purple Heart Homes to find all the content, not just putting the pieces back together, but we got veteran interviews on there. I worked hard on those.
You did.
Yeah,
You did
yeah.
really well.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
thank you.
yeah,
I
you can go to
appreciate
phhusa.org. You can find out all the events that we're doing, all the veterans that we've been helping.
Absolutely.
You can go on there and you can donate, become a Hearts of Honor.
Yes, yeah. If you want to help out a veteran every day, that's what we do here at Purple Heart Homes. Is we assist veterans with critical home repair, and that's everything from wheelchair ramps to roofs, ADA bathrooms, HVAC systems, anything that has to do with health, safety, or accessibility.
Yes.
And also we're building these amazing tiny homes in our facilities in Statesville, North Carolina. We're not just helping people in North Carolina. We are a national nonprofit organization, 46 states and Puerto Rico. The only reason we haven't helped people in those other 4 states is not a lot of people in South Dakota that, we're just not
Have
getting
we been to
applications.
Idaho?
Yeah. What'd you call me?
I've always wondered, you know, like the poor little town of Idaho, or state of Idaho. It's only known for its potatoes.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
Have we been there?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check with Matt Stevenson. He is the knower of all things PHH. Yeah, he's in charge of the project managers. He's fantastic fella.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask both you and our guest a little bit more about the tiny home program, because one of you is focusing on purchasing all the materials and making sure logistically that they're there when they need to be there. And then Val, our guest, she is actually in charge of the construction itself, making sure we hit those timelines and that the guys are doing the work that they're supposed to be doing. So we'll start with you, Val. What do you think the hardest part about production of tiny homes is?
Space. It's even though they're tiny homes, it's like just working around the space, having to work around them. And the facility was not originally built for that. So that's probably the hardest part.
Yeah, it's an old flooring factory.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how many tiny homes y'all got going right now?
We have 7 because we have one
We
out.
have one in the parking lot, and then we have, and that one's finished. And then we have 6 more, or six more in the
inside,
shop
yep.
right now.
So there's one waiting to go to its final destination.
Because as
Actually,
we get
3
them
waiting.
done,
There's 3 that are finished.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
The other 2 in the shop are finished as well. They're just not on a trailer.
Okay.
So, and that's another project itself, getting it on the trailer to do its face and everything
Yeah, that's
else.
right. I mean, because you're doing all of that in, how big's that warehouse?
36,000.
Is that both sides?
Oh gosh, now you're gonna call me out on that.
I'm not really sure. I don't
So
know.
one side has the offices, and the other side has the warehouse that we're building the tiny homes in. And it's like she said, it's a process. They build them on these manufactured dollies that we call them dollies, but they're built on a metal frame.
Yep.
And then they're moved through each phase. And then when they get to the end, they strategically turn them in the warehouse so that way they can go out the roll door. But then they jack them up, put them on blocks, slide the dolly out, and back the carrier in, and ready to go. It's a process. I mean, it's like
it sounds so easy though, Leah. I don't know.
There are beams everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, it usually ends up being like what, a 15-point turn by the time we get.
it's like
around the
Austin
corner.
Powers. It's like
back and forth.
Yeah, it's Austin Powers when he gets stuck in the hallway with the go-kart.
Yes,
it's like
I
ding,
remember
ding,
that.
ding, ding. Yeah.
And the whole time I'm watching like the top where the metal roof is, I'm like, God, please don't hit anything. Please
Yeah.
don't hit anything.
Oh yeah, there's places where when you're turning
If
that
you hit
home,
that corner. whew.
Yeah. Because the building itself is 100 years old, but I think our side is only like 60 or 70 years old. I say only.
it's only 60 or 70.
But yeah,
years
so
old.
for some of you that don't know, it used to be Armstrong flooring that may know in Statesville.
Well, this is not just a state.
I know, but I'm saying, as you were, Devin.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Man, did you see the look she gave me?
Yes, I get that look at least 3 times a day.
Do you really? So real talk, what's it like being an office mate with Leah? Is it?
It's not that bad. It's actually funny because she'll sometimes get like aggressive with her voice. And then just as I'm about to be like, who are you sniffing at? She's like, why am I yelling so loud?
I do that all the time. Like I'll get excited about something and I'm like fussing and then I'm like, wait, hold on, why am I yelling? And I'm like, I'm just talking to Val. There was one time, oh my gosh, it was so funny. We were bringing a washer and dryer into, taking it to one of the tiny homes here. And I'm trying to like lay it on me and I huffed. And all I hear is, don't get mad at me, Missy. And I'm like, I'm just breathing. Because I was laying it off and I took a breath and I was like, I'm just breathing. But I mean, actually, it's like been really good working with Val. Like her amount of knowledge in the construction and then my knowledge in the logistics, it really works. I mean, I don't know a lot about the construction. I'm still learning all the materials and everything, but Val's like, hey, we need to change this and start adding this and we need to order. And so we're now finally getting into a process that we know how much material we need. We know what's it going to take to build a home, what's going to take the cost of the home. So it's finally like getting into a systematic flow now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you you said you weren't into construction. But you did logistics.
I did logistics and supply. Yeah.
And so you're taking that side of things, but you don't really need to know the construction. You just need to know what materials they need and general timelines for things. And then Val actually knows the construction side of things, how things actually go together, when that should happen, how long that takes. And so was that a easily formed relationship, or did y'all have any what do they call that?
No.
Or you trip up at the beginning?
No, not really.
We're like the only 2 girls back there anyway.
Yeah, we didn't really have any issues because honestly, like when she started, it was a different manager in the shop. Mm-hmm. He was a little bit more old school, didn't do the same stuff. So I was already doing it anyways. Like I was making the lists and
checking it twice.
Yes, checking it twice.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Val, Santa Claus, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were doing it even before I started managing, and it just kind of moved into it. And it was easy because I don't want to be the one to buy stuff. So it works out really well. Like, I hate going to the store. I don't like shopping. I don't like negotiating with people. And she's good with all that.
There was one day I came back. I took a couple of days off. She was like, don't ever leave me again. Vendors came in all the time, every day. I didn't know what to tell them. Like I had to talk to people. Like all the reps came in on the one day that I was off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
I
I'll call
had
back.
people the whole time you were gone.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrible.
Yeah. It's fun though. It's fun. We enjoy it.
Well, I always have a lot of fun. I spend a lot of time going up there and talking to Leah about the radio show, and I think Val probably gets annoyed with me coming back there and constantly asking her construction workers to do stupid videos. And I had them doing a dumb video today, and I could tell she's tolerating me. Because I hang out with Val a lot outside of work because, and I can tell when she tolerates me and when she's actually happy that I'm there, which is rare.
It's like herding cats back there. It's such a big shop that everybody's in different corners. And when I need everybody to get up there, it is literally herding cats. Like I got to run around and try to find people. Their phones don't work in certain parts of the building.
Oh, yeah.
All that stuff. So when I get them together, it's like, all right, do what you need to do so that I can like get going with my stuff. What I need to do.
We have a time schedule to keep, like we really do.
Speaking of time schedules, I'm getting the signal from the producer that it's time to take a radio break. He wants me to stick on that time schedule. You know, do we really have to pay for commercials or studio or what? Yeah. No,
he's like, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, you know what? We are very appreciative to our sponsors. So we are going to give them that time. And so, hey, you've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together. We'll catch you after this break. Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, where we can't decide who is going to bring us back in.
We just make eye contact. We're like, is it going to be me? Is it going to be you? Like rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah, I think we got a little confused there for a second. There was a lot of distractions during the Facebook break, whatever that is thing there. Yeah.
I'm just like looking at the wardrobe change on our lovely guest.
It is steadily getting colder and colder in here. I feel like I'm just like freezing.
Yeah, you started off in a t-shirt.
I know.
And now you're
like layering up.
Yeah. Then you got a denim shirt on, and now you've got like a parka on your lap.
Like a little old lady, like just putting more stuff on.
We had one more segment. She'd have a blanket wrapped around her shoulder.
Well, have a little space heater over here for her.
Speaking of space heaters, we have like 3 space heaters in our office because it's so cold.
Do you really? Well, you built your own office though, right?
No, we did not. It was built before she got here, and it was a previous employee that built it.
Wow,
and it did not get insulated.
So sassily. Oh, they didn't insulate it.
That whole side of the building is not insulated.
Why would you build a building and then an office and then not insulate it?
I don't know, Devin. Why would they? I don't know.
It just didn't do half the things they do.
Oh, wow. Are you really going to go there?
It just didn't get insulated. So it is very cold in there, and it takes forever to heat up, and you can hear everything in there.
Well, I think that during that incarnation of the tiny home building, they weren't spending a lot of time in the office doing the office work. So they're like, it doesn't need to be
because they didn't have anyone like a year ago.
There wasn't a permanent person up there.
Right. Yeah. So that probably was not a priority to make sure it was insulated. Well, next time we have one of those tiny houses spray foam, we'll just drill some holes in the drywall, and y'all can just spray foam in there. Wow, look at your faces like I didn't think of that.
Light bulb.
No, I did think about it, but yeah. Next time we have like an extra $4,000 or a few days, we can just just put it in there.
Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, because we always have an extra $4,000 around here. But I'm being facetious for our listeners.
Yeah.
We are always struggling with money because it's a nonprofit.
It is.
But
I mean, every dollar that we get goes to the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We get that's one of the hardest parts about maintaining an operation like this is like you need money for putting insulation and walls at the facilities so the workers can not be so cold they can't type. Because you have to be able to order materials and call vendors and things like that if you're gonna. Not
even that. I mean, even the floor, out there. I mean, it's a big open concrete area.
Oh my gosh! I talk about heating and cooling nightmare. I don't know exactly what is going on in that warehouse, but it is colder in the winter in the warehouse than it is outside. And in the summer, it's somehow hotter in the warehouse than it is outside. It's just, it's whatever this temperature is outside, they're going to take it to the extreme.
But we still work in it.
You do, yes.
We still dedicate ourselves to, making sure, because we know that at the end of the day, these homes are going to a veteran and it's about them.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that, you kind of just suck it up and move on. But there's pride that goes into what we're doing. So,
and it definitely shows.
yeah. So we go through it, work it. Right, Val?
Yeah.
But what is it that, like, how did you find out about the position at Purple Heart Homes?
Actually, my husband was coming here. He had started coming here for, what was that program that Brad used to do, Devin?
It was Reboot.
Oh, yes, Reboot.
It was the Reboot
So my
program,
husband
yeah.
started coming here for Reboot. Because when he first got out, he went through a phase, like a depression phase, pretty common. He's really open about it. He'll talk about it to anyone. But when we moved here, it kind of happened again, specifically because of just not having any friends here. So he started coming here. I think he met Brad and started coming here. And he did a tour and he came home and he told me all about it. And I was like, oh, that's just so cool. And, you know, yada, yada. And then I was working at the cabinet shop. And then I met Paul and we would see him at the Wine Maestro. And I kept asking him, like, kind of joking but not joking, like, hey, are you hiring cabinet makers over there? And he's like, no, we don't really. We get our cabinets donated. So I just kept like slipping it in there every once in a while that I was interested in a job here. And then my husband told me about a position that had opened up that he was going to apply for to be the ramp team leader. And I was like, and then he was telling me about the 4-day work weeks. And I was like, that sounds fabulous. And I was like, so what if I put in an application over there? He's like, you can't do that. You have a better chance than I do.
Yes.
It's like, you have more experience than I do. It's like, I know. And then I went ahead and put in the application.
Wow.
Bam, here you are.
That's messed up.
Yep.
Yeah, and he actually did. He sent an email to the HR person that did the hiring and actually said, just so you know, my wife will be applying and she is better qualified for the position and there is no hard feelings and all of that. But yeah, I just really wanted to be here
Kidding.
doing this instead of building cabinets. So although I do like building cabinets, but I wanted to be here helping veterans and feeling like I was doing something different and just making something pretty.
That is awesome. And you've really done a fabulous job. I mean, I see the work that you do, and she is super dedicated. Actually, there's a problem. She when she starts working on something, she doesn't want to stop.
No. I had to tell her, look, that it's lunchtime. You need to eat.
Do you remember when we went to Wisconsin and like we were supposed to go to schmooze with the locals because we were trying to start a chapter.
Oh, yeah.
And Val's like, no, I'm not done with this thing. And she's like, I was like, you want us to leave you out here in Wisconsin in the middle of nowhere working on a wheelchair ramp by yourself?
I was like, exactly. Yes, please leave. Go do your thing. And I'm going to stay here and prep this for tomorrow.
I think she just wanted me to go away.
Maybe, but I did get it prepped. And then we were able to take off the next day.
We did.
Right where we needed to be.
Yeah, so. That was, it was it was an interesting trip.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was.
When did you go to Wisconsin? Like what time of year?
It was springish.
Oh, okay.
The ground was thawed.
Yeah, it was cold sometimes, but it warmed up at some point too. I think it went from like, at one point it was like 50 degrees and at one point it was like 90.
It
got really hot.
Oh, wow.
You talk about, like, we always say in North Carolina, if you don't like the weather, wait a day.
A couple hours.
Yeah. It's in Wisconsin, it was worse. They were up that's in Rhinelander. That's where our chapter is in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
And they're so far north, it's dang near Canada, you know.
Canada.
That's home of the Hodag, in case y'all are wondering.
Yes, I was educated on the Hodag. There's a Hodag store, which Devin insisted that we go to. They just sell. So the Hodag was like a fictional swamp monster type thing.
Yeah, it's their town mascot.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's green.
If you don't know about the Hodag, look it up. It's pretty awesome. maybe we'll throw a link down to a Hodag thing in the comments or something.
Don't
Check
you
it
have
out.
a Hodag shirt? Didn't you get
I
a
do
shirt?
have a Hodag shirt. Yeah.
So you can wear the shirt.
I can
one
wear
day.
the Hodag shirt one day. Yeah. Well, so we've got just a few minutes left in the regular broadcast. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to make sure that we get to talk about?
I don't think so, man. You really put me on the spot. You didn't
Well, yeah,
get
that's
anything
what
to
the
work
radio-
Okay,
with.
I'll ask.
I don't
Okay.
think
So
there's
what is
anything
it
I won't
when
do.
you said that you build ramps, and I know you probably went out there and got to see the veterans, and is there like a memorable moment that you remember finishing a ramp for a veteran and maybe his or her reaction or anything that kind of sticks out that is like the one time that you remember?
I think probably, the one in Wisconsin, that gentleman rolled down the ramp, I think, before we were even completely done. I don't even think we had all the rails up, and he was freewheeling it right down the.
Oh yeah, we thought he was. We're like, no.
He almost did bust through the
Wait
wall.
for your electric
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Yeah. That one, I remember that one being really cool. There was another one that we did in Charlotte where the veteran, I think her name was Shakira.
Oh yeah, Shakira Woodbury.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she has twin daughters, and one of the daughters came out and helped us. And she was like 18, 19, I want to say, something like that. And now she's actually pursuing possibly carpentry,
Oh wow,
something like that. And I think that's pretty cool.
awesome.
It
yeah.
doesn't have a lot to do with the veterans, but it inspired me. It made me feel good.
Well, it does because you're talking about a child of a veteran, and now you've given them a little bit of inspiration along with assisting the veteran with their housing needs. So that's pretty awesome. And that just goes to show when you're helping these veterans, you're not just helping the veteran themselves, you're helping their family, and you're showing them that the community cares about
absolutely.
the whole family, because we do.
I mean, you're giving that family like some of their freedom back too. They struggle sometimes taking care of the veteran themselves, and so now they get a ramp, and now easier accessibility to get in and out. I don't know. I think the whole thing as a whole is phenomenal.
Absolutely. Well, hey Val, it is getting to the end of the regular broadcast. I just want to thank you for coming on and being on the show today. I've been aggravating you to do this for a while.
Oh, thank you for having me.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the word.
I was waiting for you to finish talking.
Oh,
It could have just gone on forever.
Talking, Val. You know this. Yeah. If anybody does, you
Trying
do.
not to interrupt you.
Well, thank you. If you want to know more about Purple Heart Homes, go to phhusa.org, and we'll catch you next week.